Hey, what's up everybody? I just got out of the theater. It's about 1 a.m. right now where I'm at. And I just came out of seeing the one and only Star Wars, The Last Jedi.
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now.
Let the past die. Kill it.
Yes, the wait is over. We've been waiting for about 2 years now. Just a little under 2 years, because I believe the last film came out on December 19th of 2015. From characters to just plot points, people wanted to know answers. People wanted answers. This film, I can tell you, certainly brings a lot of surprises, a lot of new things to the Star Wars universe that we have never seen before. This kind of goes off the rails a bit along with the story and the plot and the structure of everything. It's a very well made film, and I have to give Rian Johnson a lot of credit. He is a really good director. I was a big fan of Looper, I was a big fan of Brick. He's just a really good writer-director. Everybody's good, everybody's back, including Mark Hamill, who we saw a little snippet of in the last film. He's actually here, and he has a big role to play as Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is Luke Skywalker. He is the man. He's one of the best things about this film, if not the best thing. Mark Hamill just showcases him in a way in which we haven't seen in a Star Wars film to date. It's one of the most refreshing things about the film, is to see him the way he is after all this time. He's broken and battered. We haven't seen him since The Force Awakens, when Rey was going to give him his lightsaber. We find out in this film what he does with that lightsaber. Not only that, we also find out what kind of person he is, what kind of person he kind of has just turned into. I think it's one of those things where the plot is just so kind of, not particular, so complex, but it's one of those things with these type of films in which you can't really say much about the plot. So I don't want to like spoil anything for anybody, so I'm just going to keep that under wraps for right now. But I will say Rey is really good. Daisy Ridley is just a really good actress. She's just a really natural actress. Who else is good? Adam Driver as Kylo Ren. He is fantastic. I just have to say that the facial expressions that he's making, everything that he's doing, is really working for me, and it's just really good to see him. He has such a pivotal role in this movie, and I feel like it just works because he's good. John Boyega as Finnegan. He's good. This is like Detour, I believe, with the movie. That's one of my main concerns about the movie, is that he kind of goes on a detour with this other girl by the name of Rose, and they're just trying to like do this subplot within the movie, and it kind of works and it kind of doesn't. It kind of takes the film into a detour that it may or may not need to go to. Unfortunately, you can't really take the part of it out, because you kind of need it to be what it is, because they do some things that kind of lead into some plot points that cater to the end of the movie or towards the third act. Even though maybe it doesn't work, it just is a necessity. However, that necessity or just that moment or that detour that they have is not necessarily something that's all that enthralling, in my opinion. I wasn't really feeling it for the most part, and I felt that was kind of detrimental a little bit to the film itself, because honestly, besides that one little plot point, everything else in the film really worked for me. The action sequences are top notch. Like I said before, the acting is great, the special effects are awesome, and the score is great by John Williams. He's just really good, and he just does it every time he does a Star Wars movie. We are introduced to a lot of different characters that are just like new to the franchise, and a lot of different creatures as well, like the Porgs in this film. People really thought they were going to be annoying. People were concerned that they were going to be the new Jar Jar Binks. Maybe perhaps they were going to be the new Ewoks, but no, I'm going to tell you right now, they are not any of those things. The film uses them in moderation and kind of like knows where to put them in, so it doesn't interfere with the overall story or structure of the movie to the point where it's just like this unnecessary cuteness, tingly, you know what I mean. So it doesn't really deter from the movie at all. The film is about 2 hours and 32 minutes long. I felt that 20 minutes of the film probably should have been cut out of the movie. But yet again, like I said before, you probably weren't able to because everything kind of flows in a way where everything is kind of interlaced and connected, so that if you take any of that out, it wouldn't make sense in the long run. So, you know, I can understand why in the post-production, you know, they couldn't really do anything. But overall, Rian Johnson, I think, really does a good job with this movie. A lot of great action sequences, like I said before. A lot of new things are introduced to the franchise, and it kind of leaves it open to what's going to happen in Episode 9. Overall, I think that Star Wars The Last Jedi is a very good movie. It's a very good blockbuster. I think you'll have a good time with it, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. I think you will really appreciate this movie. Hopefully, if you're open-minded, you will even appreciate it even more. If I have to compare it to The Force Awakens, I'd have to say that I guess when I first saw The Force Awakens, I had so much hype and so much like build-up around it because we hadn't seen a Star Wars film in so long on the big screen, that I just kind of like catered a little bit more to that film when I first saw it rather than this movie. Because when I see this film, I mean, we just came off of a Star Wars spin-off last year. It wasn't as fresh to see the opening crawl like it was to see it back in 2015 with The Force Awakens. So I think that's maybe something to keep note of if you're a person of nostalgia, if you're someone who thinks that, you know, everything's going to live up to every single expectation you have. If you have the highest expectations for this film, they may not meet it, but it does meet you over halfway, and that's good enough in my opinion to solidify this movie as probably one of the best films in the franchise. If I had to rate it out of a scale from 1 to 10, I definitely give it an 8.25 to an 8.5. Around that little scale, because I feel like there was some things, you know, like I said before, it might be a little bit too long, and that little detour between Finn and Rose is not something that I necessarily thought that was necessary. You know, I know I'm repeating words, but it's just I just didn't think that it might have been the best thing in the movie. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Star Wars The Last Jedi. Please let me know what you guys thought about the film in the comment section below if you guys saw the movie. Also add me on Twitter if you guys are interested in that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed. It's around 1:30 a.m. and I need to get some sleep. But I'll talk to you guys later. Come at you with another movie review later. Have a good one. Peace.